Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday. So, here we are at Wednesday. We've got a little bit of breeze going outside. That's kind of cool. Let's see what we are all doing today. How's everybody doing today? Make sure it's set for winding. There we go. Almost wondering whether purchasing a camera that's just a camera might not help this weird problem that I'm having every morning where it defaults to the microphone on the camera instead of my really nice microphone that's here. Good morning, Brent. How are you doing this morning? Okay. So we've got an interesting show for today. I'm going to be working on one more piece for Airship 27. I'm going step by step with each one of the pieces with Airship, putting them to the next stage with each one of these, and then that allows me to kind of spread it out a little bit. That gives me some stopping points in case I decide I need to fix this because I'm only an hour down or whatever, as opposed to 5 hours down or 6 hours down on the piece. So that's my battle plan on this one. So we're going to work with that. We've also got one of Fred's pieces on the docket. As a side note, I am noticing that I have an update scheduled, which I've got scheduled outside of work hours, so I better not do it this time. But Windows is Windows, and Windows will do what Windows is doing. So it may or may not just all of a sudden decide now is a good time to update Windows. But more importantly, last night I was trying to play Borderlands with my buddies, and Steam wouldn't update because there was no hard drive space left on one of my hard drives. So I had to move stuff, and when I did, I moved it onto my OneDrive, which is fine. But my OneDrive is still synchronizing some of it. So there may be some lag or slowdown, and I apologize for that. I didn't realize it was going to take more than 12 hours for it to synchronize up to my OneDrive. That's okay. I fight with cloud drives all the time. So we're going to work on, we're going to start with Elio 4, illustration 4. I'll move you over to sharing the screen. Okay, so when we last left our intrepid heroes, this scene calls looking at my concept board. We've got this going on here. And the more I look at this, the more I'm not happy with this. I mean, the concept is all right. The angle is acceptable. There we go. But yeah, we are running way slow, and I am not ecstatic about the fact that I can't stop OneDrive from synchronizing. The only way to stop OneDrive is to kill OneDrive. The problem is all of this stuff is on OneDrive. All these pictures are on OneDrive. And your network is slow, and my network is slow, and everybody's just slow. I had a long time ago, and when I say a long time ago, it's a long time ago, like 2000 or maybe 2001 or somewhere around there. I had this awesome little emulator, and it would run just about anything. And it was so kind of sad that it was a Windows 2000 thing and won't work very well on this. So I'm going to go on ahead and save some space by closing everything that's not critical. Although I don't think that's going to stop this from being slow and sluggish. There we go. And we're going to talk a little bit about this particular piece. Man, it's going to be one of those days. Oh, come on, computer. Okay, I'm going to kill OneDrive. I can't have a show where this is happening. It's taking way too long for a command to go through. Sorry, OneDrive. But there's no pause function. Okay. Now, in this original situation, looking at the actual scene, oh no, going back and looking over the scene, this is a long scene. Okay, so where they are, here's some notes for this so that we can actually kind of get to work on this. Let's talk a little bit about where they are. One. Oh, God. They are in a basement. Okay, so it wasn't OneDrive. What's killing all my processes here? Something is chewing up all of my memory. Looking at Task Manager, it's Chrome, which makes sense. Chrome usually does when I'm broadcasting, but even then it's only 24%. For those of you guys who are wondering, let's see what else we got. Word's running, Chrome's running. Well, I've got Excel running, so maybe I'll close Excel and see if that helps. One thing we don't have from yesterday is Excel. We got music running. Just restream. That's it. I do have Wikipedia up because the character that we're referencing is I got Task Manager up right here, and I'm looking at it. So, by memory, Photoshop's taking up a huge chunk, but that's nominal. That's normal. And I have far more than enough memory that 17 gigs isn't going to hurt anything. I'm trying to figure out what's going on today that wasn't going on yesterday. It wasn't like this before. Okay, well, I'll kill the page we're supposed to be working on with Fred. And we'll see what we've got going on. Let's see if that helps us any. I mean, technically speaking, Photoshop's taking up all of my space. It doesn't surprise me. Well, you know what we'll do? Save and close. And I'll just shut it down in Power Cycle Photoshop. Sounds like a thing. There you go. And technically speaking, Photoshop has been open since last night, so I'll let it go on ahead and completely clear out of the system. I think it's kind of interesting the amount of money that we pay for Creative Cloud. Okay, now we're power cycling it back up. Here, I'll turn on my screen so you've got something to watch. We'll power up Photoshop again. Okay, we're loading up Photoshop, which hopefully won't take as much power as before. And all we will do is load this one Elio. Okay, now that's all we got. Just this one thing. Where are we? As far as memory goes. I'm not even seeing Photoshop on the top most memory hogs of all time. Well, I am seeing a lot of instances of Google Chrome that are not closed, which may be part of it. I think Chrome likes to leak. That's what I think. I think Chrome likes to have data leaks. But there we go. We are at least rolling. So let's see what we got now. Okay, one much better basement. 2 demons. So these guys are all... It's not just him that's the demon. 3. Right, he's Samael. Yeah, that's what I thought too. But as in using the internet, I was more worried that was going to interfere with the show's broadcast capabilities because it was. But I think what happened was Photoshop just started getting leaky because now Photoshop's acting fine. So I get the impression that really what we had was just Photoshop got leaky. I think that we'd find that Chrome is leaky as well. And so, you know what? After the show's over, we'll stop everything and I'll restart everything. It's got to do an update anyway, so that'll put this computer down and then back up. It takes a little bit of time, and it takes more time than I want to do in the middle of a show. So it seems like we're running okay for right now, so I'm just going to leave it. That seems like a thing. So moving right along to this guy, looking at the instructions and reading the scene again on this one gives me a little bit of a different idea of what's going on here. First of all, I feel like this needs to be flipped. Right? I feel like he should be pulling this out with his right hand. Dominant hand. So we're gonna do that. There we go. Right? Chrome is horribly leaky, and it makes me aggravated. It really does make me aggravated. I got better things to do in my life than to fight you, Chrome. Okay. So though I like this angle, there's a few things that we're missing. One of them is, I feel like we are missing the fact that this guy, he's a bad guy, and he's just had like a large reveal. But I don't think he's this kind of demon. Do I have to put up with Chrome? I don't know. I mean, one can argue that maybe I don't. Could be Edge. We'll go ahead and put this box in. Unless you've got a solution that doesn't involve... and by the way, good morning, David. Unless you've got a solution, David, that doesn't involve moving over to Linux. Put in the shoulder here. So we've got to go into here. Yep. Do you really think so? Well, Linux may be better, but there's no Photoshop for Linux. And there's no Clip Studio for Linux. And so if I went to Linux, I'd have to go all the way back to square one. And so we've got, that's not really what I want to do. You know what I mean? So we're kind of having a little bit of an issue with that particular thing. I'm looking back through the manuscript to find one key thing. He is holding a crystal in a glove. Now, my memory gets kind of fuzzy when we take enough time between the reading of this thing and the actually doing something with this thing. So I am trying to so that's a good question. If you're using Linux and then using an emulator to emulate Windows, why not just use Windows? I mean, you'd have all of the problems with Windows on your Linux machine. And then you inherit all the problems with Linux. By the way, you are not the first person that I've had this discussion with. My wife is enamored with Linux as well, and I've had these same discussions with her. Um, and it's because I know that we could use wine. And I guess really most of my online stuff wouldn't change, right? I mean, like Restream would still be Restream and it would keep going, so we could still broadcast. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'd have Linux running Wine, running Photoshop. It seems like I'd inherit all of the problems of all three of those critters. Have enough problems with just Windows and Photoshop. Anyway. Maybe he's got his cloak down at this point. Yeah, Restream should run just fine. I can't imagine Restream having a problem. We'll put this cloak out like this. Right, he's gonna be. Because really what we need is this. There we go. Yippers. I actually was simply speaking out loud. I have absolutely no idea, or I have no misunderstandings about how they'll run. So I am more concerned that I wouldn't be able to get Photoshop running. Oof. It is a long-standing debate between my wife and I. This one is so. What we've got going on here is this guy. I originally had him as a demon. But the more I read into the manuscript, the more he's not a demon at all. And I must have I was reading the manuscript way too fast, is what's going on. But this guy is one of the horsemen of the apocalypse. A fallen angel. And he has a scythe, which is what I was having him use before. Is it a Reaper blade? And our hero, let's go ahead and shape this properly, because I feel like we're not. Here we go, not doing this right. Getting all into the blade. And didn't check your anatomy first, so guess what you get to do? You get to erase everything. So, he's cocky and arrogant, so his chest is out like this. He knows he's got this fight won, so he doesn't have to worry about it. There we go. Much better. Much more like what I'm looking for. right? So let's fix his anatomy. Totally has this fight under control, so there's no issue here. Right? Okay. So let's get all this anatomy squared away. You know, maybe he's actually wielding it like this, right? He's wielding the scythe. So we'll put one fist here. And one fist right here. Here we go. Wielding the scythe. And that'll make this a whole lot better. He's ready to get into this fight. There we go. I think I like that one a whole lot better. All right. There we go. Much better. There. Bring this in. Bring that in. Bring that over. Bring this around. I feel like I'm just moving stuff around here. There we go. So here we've got this guy here who is doing this. We'll have like a demon sitting up here on the ceiling, looking upward. Let's see what's going on. What's going on? What you doing? I'm hanging off the ceiling. That seems like a thing, right? Little demon right here. He's watching what's going on. He's hanging onto the rafters of this building. This. I'll do some weird rafter work here or whatever. This basement's broken. We also want wings. You can make these wings look static and non-moving, or you can do something about it, Guy. Really, really, really. Come on. Kind of feel like, though, Okay, so our hero, who is in the foreground, this guy right here, let's go ahead and just erase him, because we'll get the background and then put it on a different layer in the foreground, and this will make it easier for us to see what's going on. Also allows us to shrink this down if we need to, which we might, because I'm kind of feeling a little bit crowded over here. Right? So, doing that, now we have our hero. We'll do him in a different color so that I can get in here on this. I'm not going to let that be my problem at this moment. And he's you're looking over his shoulder as he pulls out the special device that's in his coat. So he's going to, maybe he's looking down at it, right? He's looking at it, kind of get an idea of what's going on here. There we go. I'm going to bring this up and over into the deltoid, right through here. I'm noticing, Brent, you were saying whether you'd have to let Photoshop or test out Photoshop to see if it works with wine. Not really worth that much of a fight, but I can't at the moment transfer over to Linux anyway. So we just do what we do. It's all good. We let it work. We'll let it go, and we'll work with it as time goes on. So, and an arm out here like so. But we will talk. We can talk. We can talk, my friend. There will come a time when I can retire out of some of my other work. And when we do, we may just figure out how to do this. See, I'm not liking this. I'm already not liking this. Right here is where we want the hand holding the eye. So let's talk about this in the mid-range. All right. So we're going to strangely enough, he is not the first person to recommend that I go to Macintosh. So, it's astonishing. That is not, in fact, the first time that's happened. Oh, man. Okay. I think part of the reason why I'm confused is the illustration instructions are different than the actual story. This is not, in fact, embedded in the glove like the illustration instructions sort of imply. This is an actual yeah, I think that's part of it. I am a major Black Desert Online fan, and I mean, enough of a Black Desert Online fan that I am seriously thinking about upgrading my video card just so I can play better Black Desert Online. I mean, let's be realistic. So, I feel like I would have to stay with Windows just for that. Okay. It's a small crystalline orb. Okay, so this guy is a small crystalline orb right here we're dealing with. That's what we've got is this orb is not supposed to be a big orb. So I feel like this is something that he uses it as a tool a number of times in the story. Okay, so I'm going to go on ahead and we're going to talk a little bit about building the hand around this structure here and keeping the hand in line with this. So let's talk about this. Here is where we're going to have the center of attention, right? So when we're looking at the artwork, we want everybody looking here and all things looking here. So this is our center of attention. Actually make it a different color so that I can easily see it. Now, that's where the orb is going to be. What we need is to figure out where Jordan is. He's going to be this wall right here in the picture. I'm going to go on ahead and just decide arbitrarily. His chest is like this. Smaller, but not much, right? I'm going to put his head right here. We got an arm that's going to be doing this. Alright. Do this, come around like this, and I actually feel like his head will be right here. And I think now we're getting closer to what I'm looking for. It just took some time to kind of weasel in on that. Oh, I think this is another one of those... that is correct. I'm using Windows Media Player. I think I'm getting another call about the 2020 healthcare. So, there you go. We're going to get healthcare now, suddenly. suddenly we get health care, but only for $19.95 per second plus shipping and handling. Yes, I'm using Windows Media Player for their background music at this moment. I'm not bitter or angry that Winamp folded, because it really whipped the llama's ass. I'm just saying. And I miss my Winamp. Winamp, there's a certain amount of sadness to the loss of Winamp. I'm just saying. It's enough to make a grown man cry, you know? Okay, so let's look at the arm here. This arm is huge because it's right in front of us, and it's huge. I'm making him all muscly. I get the feeling a lot from this particular piece. We've got a lot of not necessarily oh, hey, they left a voice message? Oh, that's first. Now horribly curious. Let's see what they said. Yep. I don't know who March is. So I love the text-to-speech. So it's giving, this is March, whoever March is. No. Actually, there's something on here. It's very entertaining. Hi, this is March. I am calling to give you an important update on President Run's response to COVID-19 and what do you doing to rebuild the American economy. That name is Star. Hi, present. Trying to someone, I would like a doctor's find his an economic birth to do with the invisible and of me, the timeline just informing unprecedented and media release to American families, workers in businesses. I love these. These are fun. My dad mangles the text-to-speech, and I think it has a lot to do with his accent. But every message my dad has ever left is just entertaining. As all get out. So much fun. It cracks me up. And it's worth it to let him go to voicemail just because I know I'm going to be getting entertainment out of the voicemail. But he doesn't even have that thick of an accent. I mean, he's got a Texas accent, which isn't deep South. So I could understand it if my dad had like a deep South accent, like Mississippi or Georgia. But he doesn't. He just has a normal sort of Texas accent, middle Texas accent. And, oh man, it is so funny. And it just mangles it. And so I actually have wanted to go down there at some point in time and visit with him. And when I do, take a recorder and some of these recordings and then have him literally record the messages that the text-to-speech heard. And like, my dad used to do voice work. Yeah, Texas is not as southern as some of the other places. He used to do voice work back in the day. And so you can actually get him to, in fact, those of you who are familiar with Geek Tank, he's the announcer that says, Geek Tank is a production of Foxblade Media and is protected under the Creative Commons 3.0 license. Your hosts today were, I get him to record all of those every time I'm down there. So, because he's got a beautiful, deep, very, baritone voice. And he rumbles which is even funnier because, of course, as a person, my dad does not rumble. Although that is the ongoing joke about all of us kids, is that when he gets grumpy about something, he just That's all right. He's a good guy. Okay, let's take a look at the structure. I'm happy with the upper body anatomy that's going on here. Right? This is good. This upper body anatomy right through here is fine. What I'm not happy with is what's going on right here in the middle of the picture. Now, right there in the middle of the picture, I've got him pulling out this crystal. My thought is, in here it says the crystalline orb. I'm going to look back at it. Now, at one point, he uses it as like a thing to look through, like a scope, or so I'm looking at it and kind of going, So it's yeah, looking here, it almost seems like it was embedded. This is a tough one because the image that I have in my head is slightly different than I think the image that the author is looking for in this. And so I'm bothered a little bit by the fact that I'm trying to kind of get some kind of feel to this. Like, what size is it? I guess it's got to be about the size of his eyeball. Yeah, he's looking through it. Okay, there we go. He's definitely looking through this orb in a couple of locations. So let's talk turkey. The orb is probably about this big, right? And so he's going to be pulling this orb out and holding it, and his fingers are going to form sort of a C, like this. I'll give more stress. Bring the fingers up, hold it more like this. Okay. Move this forward so that it eclipses more. And we're sketching like sketchy mad here. Sketchy mad. I'm holding. I need something. Where am I going on this one? It's tilted. And, that's our problem. Not the way we want this to be. We want this. The thumb here. The finger here. Alright. Thumb going through like this. There we go. That's what we're really after. palm going across like that. There we go. That's what we're after. We'll give him his pinky finger here. He's pulled out this crystal, of which to Deus Ex Machina the bad guy. That's what's really going on here. Alright, we've got him holding this crystal like this. And that's the whole point here, is that he's going to Deus Ex Machina this bad guy with the crystal. Of course, the bad guy's going to thwart it, but we can at least see where we're going here. The crystal, then, is there. And we will then have as the crystal glows. Hey, Brent, you were talking earlier about me using WMP for music. Did you have a thing you were headed for on that one? Was there a zone we were heading for here? A mission. So, okay. I'm not happy about this part here. I feel like this should be a much bigger element. Okay, now we'll go down to this level. And this guy is off kilter. And okay, it was cute to have him hanging from the rafters, and I feel like that was funny. Can he tell that I'm using Windows Media Player? I mean, that's kind of interesting. I would not have expected that. Oh, yeah. And by the way, thank you for sharing my Twitch feed. Okay. I'm going ahead and kind of go up here like this with this wing. Make sure it bends back. Gotcha. Yes, in fact, it is Windows Media Player. I have to keep that in mind. I wonder if there's a way to get it without the taskbar. Yeah, probably. I guess it doesn't really matter. I can't think of any reason why that's a security breach of any sort. So, but I always not think about these things, and then they become a security breach. I'm like, I didn't realize that was a security breach of any sort. I always get kind of aggravated about that. So, I can't think of any reason why that'd be a security breach. All right. I figured I can hide the taskbar like a hide thing, but the question really is that it's a breach of any sort, and I can't think of anything that would be breachy about it, unless I had my kids' information up there, which time I'd be a little bit more concerned. Okay, I am looking at my hand from the angle that I want this to be at. The thumb needs to be taller, like there, and needs to go the other direction, like this. And now we have made a mingled mess out of this zone. There we go, much better. All right. Describe that curve coming around here like this. Did you tell him about my, I'm hoping he was listening to my rant about losing Winamp, because that's a sad thing, and it makes me mad. I am still mad about Winamp. I've been using Winamp for, when Winamp went down, I had been using it for 16 years, something like that. It was one of those programs that I had been using since the days of yore. I'm still bitter and angry about Winamp. Just like my dad. It wouldn't be so funny, except that every time we do that to him, he's like, I don't sound like that. He grumbles about it. It just adds a whole thing. Well, hello there, friend. Good to see you here. You're welcome to the stream. Always welcome to the stream. Everybody's welcome. All are welcome in the light. All are welcome. Wait a minute, that's not going to help anybody. They're all just going to get freaked out. And then David's going to wonder what in the world I was doing watching Poltergeist, since he knows me well and knows there's no way I would get within 100 million miles of a horror flick like that. So now he's just going to worry about me. Right, David? You're just worrying about me now. All right. Hands are hard and are always going to be difficult, so the truth is, ghost. The truth is, it looks like if I'm holding, and I am, by the way, if you're wondering what all these pauses are, this is me staring at my own hand, which is always a funny thing. But I feel like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. Make this markedly easier. There. Take a picture of my hand instead of constantly using my right hand, which is my drawing hand, to model this hand. There we go. So we'll go back through like this and up and over like this. And this comes out more like that. And that's what we're after. And that's a whole different kettle of fish right there. Right? And I am determined to not make this bend the right way. Although now it's too close. So let's go ahead and shrink it down. Because he's pulling this out for the purpose of zodding the bad guy. Bad guy zod. Alright, there we go. Now, part of this is that this guy needs to be more like here. It does mean that he's not centered anymore. The crystal isn't centered. That's okay. I feel like you guys are getting just enough information here. There we go. Like that. Just like that. Bring this up and over and through and to Grandma's house and all of that stuff. We should have some deflection on his thumb. Like he's actually holding this. I'm underestimating how much padding there is in this part of your thumb right here. Right? This should be more like this. And around and over. The little park across the street is hopping today. There are people everywhere. Okay. There we go. And maybe I want kind of more like this. There we go. Anybody who tells you that hands are easy to draw can just, because hands are not, in fact, easy to draw. Poppin' or poppin'. I don't know. If they're popping out there, we got issues. We got issues, man. We got issues. Okay. I'm okay with this. This looks okay. I think this is fine. And I'll call this one good enough for right now. You pulling out this Eye of Providence. He's trying to... I don't know what he's trying to do. I think I'm funny. Yeah, I think you just say these things to argue with me. David's saying that the hands are the easiest things to draw, easier than boxes. I think he's just trying to mess with me. I'm just saying. All right. Now that we've done that, I'm also going to have to go back through and redraw that again, but there's a few things that we want to put back here in the background. For example, now let's take this guy here. Let's just move him to right there. This thing, but I want this centered. This will allow me to give more of his face, too, as it looks at this Eye of Providence being pulled out. Back here is a very tall demon. Because apparently in this story we've got it all. We've got demons and airships and all kinds of things going on, right? So here's a very tall demon.
Little teeny eyes. Little teeny angry eyes. I'm a card. He's got little teeny angry eyes. That's what he's got. One more eyebrow here. Heavy shadow. I'm a bad guy. Right. Somehow he's still somewhat cute and adorable. I don't know. I've got problems. With issues. Told you to make a demon. You made an adorable demon. What's your problem? Anyway, adorable demons are a thing. Tell your friends. There we go. There we go. Make some kind of like monkey demon here with this. I brought you some coffee. Is it boiling? Just the way you like it. There we go. Got another demon here. Right? It does kind of look Hellboyish, doesn't it? He's got like this horde he's fighting at this moment. His
dealing with. And so I'm just adding this horde of nasty critters that he's fighting here. Things out of nightmares. Well, of course, that's the thing, right? All of us, like comic fans and everything like that, our nightmares are like far, far. These would be kind of a nice nightmare. I'm just thinking about like all of the things that we go through in our comics now. These become kind of nice nightmares. If they were just skeletons, gosh, life would be good. Okay. So now we're at multiple levels here. I like this drawing a whole lot better. I mean, this is a markedly better start than what we had before. That said, I do kind of feel like as much as I feel like they're upstaging him a little too much here. Like, I'm okay with the tall guy here. He gets involved in the fight, but like these other guys, they're not getting involved in the fight. The tall guy gets into this, but I feel like all the other guys, they can't upstage him, so we're gonna have to keep these guys down here and low, right? Except for Tolly back there. But there's all these other dudes who are like the hordes of bad dudes, or whatever TM bad applied for. Which demons and goblins and things like that. Baby Ruth. Baby Ruth. Okay. I am making a ton of cultural references. I'm just saying. My childhood is showing right here. There we go. I hope everybody appreciates my cultural references. Now, looking at this, I think I actually kind of also want to have these guys kind of putting their hands in front of their faces. That's bright, right? It burns. It burns. I hate you. Right? So, like, they're turning their heads away. Some of these guys are turning their heads away. Not Tolly here. But, like, he's going to be turning his head away. Like that. It burns me. It burns me. I hate you. I hate you and your brightness. That's it. This guy over here, he's dead. He doesn't care. Dead people don't care about bright light, especially when they've got fire coming out of their eyeballs. I'm just saying, this is a rule. You guys may not have known that, but it's a rule. If you're undead, you don't care about bright light. Scarcely talked about rule. Alright. Now I'm feeling like this might be pretty close to where we want to be for this blue line. Just the blue line. Haven't gotten to anything else. Just the blue line alone. That's rough. That's okay. So we'll call this one save. And we'll move on to the next project for today. So we're going to, real quickly, while we're here, I'm going to, because of course I closed it so that we wouldn't have to worry about it. We're going to work on page 131 as well today. This should be an easy page, but we've got another blue line to work on here. I'm going to black out the areas that are there, and then we're going to work on this one. Here we go. I really need to call this show like ADD drawing or something, because but I'm trying to get 2 different pieces on every show so that we are. Okay, so this is an Anuki in lotus position. It sounds almost like some kind of, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to, first things first, I'm going to look at this. The anatomy, as I oft say, check your anatomy on this one. You want to check the anatomy to make sure the anatomy is correct. And I'm going to actually try to get this to be. That makes the show bad. I could use Michael Jackson for it, right? Because you know this show's bad. It's bad. Shamon. And something. Badungi. Squirrel. It's squirrel drawing. Squirrel. Those of you who are not familiar with me, I have been struggling with attention deficit all of my life. So this is sort of a thing. I was struggling with attention deficit before people knew what it was, and they just thought that I was some kind of belligerent child trying to make life difficult for my teachers. And things weren't nice in the 70s, you know. Anyway, 70s and 80s. Okay. Here is the hinge, and here is this hinge. This guy's leg is going to be here. It's the lotus position, which means that, as if this wasn't complicated enough, this leg is really like ending up right here with his foot on top of the other leg. That makes this leg come out to right here. And then his foot comes out here. You gotta love the lotus position, right? There we go. There's a foot. There's a foot. Okay. Still true to the angle, we're going to make sure that we've got this going for him right here. There we go. Make sure he's got some semblance of a foreleg like a forearm. There we go. Much better. This drawing's going a whole lot better because I have warmed up. Okay, so we're going to then talk about his chest. We've got like one shoulder here and one shoulder here. We're going to then put a blanket right here. This is what he's hovering over. Because of course, the guy is psionic. So the whole thing here is that he hovers while this is a telekinetic thing. So I'll make this here. There we go. I feel like that would be back like that, and then his foot would just appear right up here. Lotus position's like the most obnoxious thing ever. Somebody invented that, and it hurts. It just hurts. It just hurts, folks. It just hurts. Friends don't let friends do the lotus position. And then his toe is like that. And his other toe is like this. There we go. All right. Then we're going to then talk about his arms, right? His arms are out like this. And this is where this elbow is, going this way. And then this guy's elbow goes this way until they meet in the middle. And then I'll make David do the hands, since the hands are so easy for him. There we go. That's true. Friends, also make sure you're on the right layer. Layer check. Work, correct layer. Like boxes. Hands are just so easy. Continuing on. The Anuki head is huge and big like so. Kind of looks like Marge Simpson in a lot of ways. I'm just saying, I'm not implying that Marge Simpson is an alien, But let's be realistic. Have you ever seen Marge Simpson and an alien in the same room together? Just asking. These are all things that keep me up at night. Here we go. There we go. Much better. There, we'll do that. We'll go up on the... If you're all wondering, I have been reading a bunch of Imagine FX magazines, which is all about art and things like that, and I've been trying to up my game on angles and shapes and things like that. So, if you're wondering why, when we did the original version of this, he was sitting straight there and looking at us one way, and now all of a sudden I've rotated him like 45 degrees to the left and tilted his body up. It's because I've been reading about making much more dramatic pictures. Now, the other thing I was saying was that in the descriptions of these guys, entertainingly, it says that they are often confused for being aliens, and their clothing does nothing to discourage that belief. So I'm going to give him clothing that looks like it's something from Orc here. Nanu. Because it's funnier that way to think that this guy is actually actively making it so that he looks like an alien. Okay, don't mess up your anatomy. You have an anatomy piece right here. Don't mess that up. Alrighty. Look at that. Look at that. We're getting in there. Okay, checking the anatomy. We're done checking. I think our anatomy is solid at this point. So let's give him this. Alright. Give him some boodly bops over here that make him look like he's wearing some kind of uniform or space outfit of some sort. It's funnier this way. I love this idea. Right here. Do this. Alright. Look at that. Look at that. Now he looks all space agey. Yeah. I think they all have small ears. I love the idea that they do absolutely nothing to dissuade you from believing that they're aliens. I know that if I played this game, that'd be the thing I'd do, is play some character that's a Nuki, but goes out of her way to not be construed as an alien as much as possible. No hair. No. They're coneheads. I mean, they're straight up and down coneheads. It's very funny. I'm entertained by this. I'm not even sure they have eyebrows, but I've got to do something to mark my zones here, and so until I've got my zones figured out, they have eyebrows. But I think I'm going to get rid of that eyebrow at some point here. Because I think they don't even have eyebrows. I feel like no, that's not so bad. It does need to more face. I also feel like they don't have much in the way of a chin. I feel like they should be reading Vogon poetry. Artistic Vogon jelts. Putty, 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 putty in my armpit. Putty, putty, putty. See, and you didn't even think that when you started this show today that you'd get Vogon poetry. But you did. Right? And here you're getting Vogon poetry and everything. You're welcome. Please do not run in front of a bus. Now he looks like a packlet. We look for things to make us go. All right. Then right here. Things to make us go fast. We are powerful. It's kind of interesting because now that I've done this, he looks sort of like he's, some kind of acolyte from the Shaolin Temple. I mean, he does. He really does. And the Dorito chip on his chest is awesome. I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I'm saying. Right? You have a Dorito chip on your chest? Dude, you need to do is deal with the Dorito chip on your chest. There we go. Maybe I'll even lower the ears, so they look even more alien. Okay. All right. Clear up some of the stuff underneath it because I think we've redone this blue line. Now, make sure. I think with all that blue line underneath it, I'm going to get confused with what needs to be happening here. I don't need to be confused with what's going on here. Alright, no. Let's go ahead and just wrap this head back around a little. I want it to be just a little bit more to the back. Feeling like that's the one thing we're not doing right. Layer check. Here, go onto the right layer. You have to stop. But why? You're in the wrong layer. Okay, here we go. Do this. Now we're in the right layer. Man, it's an interesting couple of days we've been having in the weather out there. It was cold a couple of days ago. Yesterday, actually. Yesterday morning, it was actually relatively cold. I thought that was interesting. Fascinating weather. Very fascinating, right up until it hails in my car. At which time, not so fascinating weather. We are in the middle of hail season, and this could occur at any time. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to go like this, and come up like this, and this, and back around. Because I really want more dynamic out of this. There we go, much better. Much better. Okay. Moving this back around like so. There. That's what we're looking for. Some dude who's floating, and all of his toes should show up like this, because this is a painful. Yeah, I feel like this is like Indian torture they came up with here. Like the Indians who invented this were like, oh, you know what we could do? We could torture people by making them put their feet on top of their legs, because nobody ever. What could possibly go wrong? All of you ancient Indian people who came up with this, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. I'm watching you right now. Just saying. This is brutally painful. It's not just you. It's all you ancient Japanese folks, too. Because Giza and Seiza and Giza, oh my gosh, those things hurt. Same thing. I think you just all came up with this concept to hurt people. 500 years from now, Bob, somebody will be complaining about this because it will hurt. Won't that be amazing? Yes, Tim. I think that's great. We totally believe that's what happened. Not only that, naturally, people in India 500 years ago and people in Japan 500 years ago were named Bob and Tim. Naturally, that occurred. Why would we not have that happen? Alright. Now let's work on these figures. Here, as you know, I'm not going to wait for David to do these for me. It's going to take a while. David's nowhere near me, so I'm just going to have to do them myself. And I understand that. I understand. I get it. You know, it's a thing. David's busy. He's a busy man. Can't be expecting miracles out of David here. But still, the show must go on. Let's finish these drawings. So. Okay, so there we go. Right? You're in Brighton, and do you live in Brighton? I only asked that because, of course, I've got a client out in Brighton, and I'm in Brighton before COVID, I was in Brighton once a month. So, all right, moving right along here. Well, next time I'm in Brighton and I actually am hanging out there, maybe we can go do lunch or something. Where Geekway Homes is out there on Main Street. It's 227 Main. Right? You guys are geeks and you need a home. Call Geekway Homes. He's in Brighton. So, I will. I'll let you know. We'll hang. This is... Whenever we get back to going back to the less of life and stuff, so we'll have to see how that goes. Alrighty. Feel like we can probably trim this down just a hair. And now we've got this dude. You're in Lakewood. Well, you know, Lakewood actually, Lakewood's a lot easier to get to the Geek Tank shows whenever we finally get back to broadcasting. Because we usually broadcast from the Starbucks at First and Watts. So, that's not a uncommon occurrence. So you can come hang with us. Watch us do Geek Tank live. Make snarky comments in person. And we will promise that we will edit it out, and then we don't, because 'tis the nature of Geek Tank. Keep promising we'll edit this out and post, and we don't. That's a thing. It's sort of funny and sad at the same time, but I've got a buddy who's been doing a little podcast thing. Recently, he has learned what we learned in Geek Tank, right? And you can totally spy us there. You wouldn't mind that at all. So many snarky comments. So little A friend of mine is starting to try to do his own podcast here. And he is starting to learn what we are learning, which is doing a show for relatively free is difficult. I mean, it's not like we're totally free, but we still get some influx from our Patreons, but you don't want to add any more time to it than you have to, right? I mean, you really don't. So, like for example, this show here, I just hit record, and then after this show's over, I go back to what I was doing, and I go to something else, and I don't have to worry about ending or anything like that. And I think that many of us podcasters are kind of learning that lesson as well. That podcasting is, or broadcasting in any way, you don't want to really do much in the way of editing because it's just difficult. Okay, we got about 10 minutes here. I think I'm pretty happy with my line. So let's go ahead and do this. All right, let's do this thing. Let's ink it. Going along with this. I don't know when we'll be doing Geek Tank again in person. Right now, we're doing just fine with our little from home shows. And we want to get back to doing things like Geek Tank, like it was. But Troy's family is much more conservative about this whole thing than the rest of us are at this moment. Understandably so. So he's still reluctant to get started out there again. There is some very positive and hopeful things that I'm seeing about COVID that's making me happy. But I can see why he's still concerned. Outside, somebody has left their dog in the yard, and then they go to work. And that dog sits there all day long and cries. And it's so sad. He's not being abused. We checked, but it is still sits there and just cries all day. And for those of us that work from home, it's kind of disturbing. That's not too bad. Yeah, we should be coming up at the end of the season very, very soon for Geek Tank. And we actually probably ought to talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about that Thursday. Because you're right, we're coming up on the end of our season. And we need to decide what we're doing about things for next season. I mean, we've got, obviously, convention season's all screwed up. But we knew that. And we were okay with that. And so we've kind of got to figure out what is it we are doing. I think I'm too low on that. Ooh, boy, what are you doing over here? Oh, for crying out loud. So we've got to kind of figure out what we're going to do about the next season. We'll have to talk about that one at some point. Especially for all the folks who routinely watch us, like, you, Brent. That's the other thing, though, is when we do on the online thing, we really literally don't have to do much except be together on Thursday nights. Just leave our Thursday nights open. We spend the week kind of discussing what we're doing. And, we have topic discussions and stuff like that. And it's kind of interesting. And we decide what we're going to discuss on the show. And then we kind of move along from there. It's kind of cool. We are who we are. You did? You lost your top fan badge? That's funny. I don't know why. I don't think any of us quite grasp how that works. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. This is the largest crisis we have to deal with. We're doing great. Alright. Couple more lines in this one. I'm going to call this one good. This is filler art, so I don't want it to be too dramatic, right? We'll probably have to do something with it a little bit here. Because that's still a little weak. But for the most part, we at least have our line in. this. This is just going to do... All this is doing is just making this more dramatic right there. So we got some weight on things, right? And that's what we want here. We just want a little bit of weight so that it feels like we've got some kind of shape going on here. We're just going to define in some of the muscle groups and things like that. Give him a little bit of kind of this rough shape around the outside of his head so that you can really see that. There we go. This way with his neck. Share the wealth, huh? Yeah. Uh-oh. What happened here? We just had a... Oh, not again. Well, folks, I think we're done for the day. We just lost control of the mouse, or lost control of the tablet. That's all right. It's 11:58 anyway, right? So we'll just go on ahead and come back around over here. So, yeah, now the pin no longer works over here. So, yeah, I lost my pin connection. And I've got a couple of tricks to get it back, but one of the tricks is ultimately having to restart the machine, which I think has to happen anyway. I kind of feel like we've got to go on ahead and restart, and needed to do that for a while. So, I think, and I am not 100% sure about this, but I think that has something to do with my Steam drivers. Because when Steam's running, like I was playing Borderlands last night with my buddies, and so I think when Steam's running, it gets wonky on the pen controller. I don't know. I can't. My right now at the moment, the music's plugged into, or my speakers are plugged into the board, so I can't actually hear whether you heard the beep-doop noise of it dropping the USB port. But tomorrow we're going to install lights in the front of the house, so we've got to kill the power to the house. So I'm going to take the opportunity while the power is out to take my computer apart and plug it all in correctly so all the pieces are in the right spot. That way I don't have to... I have a number of things like that. So we're going to take the opportunity to clean it out and do some stuff and kind of clear it. If you could see my poor computer over here, it's also pretty dusty. Yeah, I figured that every so often, I actually feel like I have one too many USB things going on over here. About 3 years ago, I took the computer in to have it worked on, and I had them install more USB ports. And they did, and the front USB ports never worked ever again. And so, oh, no, we'll stop the show tomorrow. Tonight it'll restart and everything like that. Now, this all happens tomorrow afternoon. We're going to kill the power and everything like that. No, I at the moment, this is working really well to get work done and complete things. And so, I I really like doing this every day if you guys don't mind joining me. And even if you have stuff to do or whatever, I'll still broadcast, and so I'll just sit here and talk to myself. And that's totally fine too. But either way, I'm going to get going. I'm going to go have lunch, and you guys should as well. I will see you all tomorrow. Have an awesome day and all that stuff.